Okay, welcome everyone to another session of Crituitous Roleplay, Crituitous RP. We, this week, do not have Gamel or Danric with us, so instead of continuing on with the story in the tense moment of Brassic unleashing a magical spell on Loic mid-hug, we travel back in time ever so slightly to reminisce on what brought everyone to this point, and we this week travel back into Loic's past. The year is 1484 DR. It's approximately 11 years, roughly, earlier than the current campaign setting. The world is at war. We are currently set in the city of Silvery Moon, and so far Silvery Moon has remained somewhat untouched, though its soldiers and guard have been lent out to other locations to aid them. As the wars continue on and cities across the Sword Coast have been decimated and completely wiped away by the orc armies that are cutting a swath through the land, all of the borrowed soldiers of Silvery Moon are returning with bad news, with sad tidings, and with the ever-present feeling of war on the horizon. But that's what the grown-ups have to deal with. Today we deal with a young Loic and some friends of his who are aware of the troubles, though it's always seemed to be a problem with the outside world, nothing that faces them right now. So, we have three main characters for today. We have young Loic. Loic, would you care to give us a brief introduction into young Loic? Who he is and... well, yeah. Go ahead.
He's a nobody, pretty much. He's background scenery in a city that adventurers would travel in. He's only about 15 years old, give or take a year. And he's had a pretty comfy upbringing. And once his aptitude for magic was understood, he decided he'd play to his strengths, and so he enrolled in this college that Silvery Moon has called the Ladies' College. And he's one of the youngest students to attend, and because of this, he is a little bit of a social pariah, but not to the extent that no one would talk to him, just kind of like, oh, that's just Loic. He's a little young. Moving on. So that's his deal. Not much to it.
Okay. With Loic, one of his classmates, though ever so slightly older, is Lydiel. Ty, would you mind explaining Lydiel to us?
Lydiel is a bit of a bookworm. She likes to find the great mysteries of the world in her books and study is answers all of life's questions and makes her better. And she feels like she's a better person because of all the knowledge she's attained through books and study. She's never really had any kind of life experiences outside of the school, and the mysteries of the world. At some point, she wants to go out and discover the mysteries of the world.
Okay. And then lastly, Casper. Carl, would you mind explaining Casper to us all?
Casper's father and Loic's father-in-law are both knights in the Royal Guard of Silvery Moon, so they grew up as chums. But where Loic was always had his nose in books, Casper was being raised to take up his father's sword and become just follow in his footsteps. So he fancies himself the next hero of Silvery Moon, and stands for all that is right and good.
Okay. So, in this time of turmoil in the world, but relative peace in the city of Silvery Moon, we zoom in and fade into the training grounds. Casper, hard at work, honing his skills, testing some of his techniques against a friend of his, a fellow individual who thinks himself to be a swashbuckler of sorts, a fun swordsman, who always seems to enjoy the fight to a degree of fighting for sport. We move to the battlegrounds, and I would like Casper to roll initiative
What? Already?
as we start out training.
This is an
Okay.
inauspicious start.
All right. So, as your friend, whose name is Machiador, steps up to battle, swinging his rapier in one hand. Ha ha ha! Come on, little Casper. Let's play.
Bring it!
He will step straight forward and swing at you.
You will never defeat me!
First attack is only attack. That's a 16 to hit.
You miss! Foolish boy!
He misses.
Ha ha!
Right. Dancing around you a little bit. It's your turn.
So Casper dual wields long swords. So he's making a big show of deflecting this blow. And he will swing twice.
Okay.
24 and a 23.
Both attacks hit. So, cutting deep in, he's trying his best to parry the attacks, but you do manage to knock him somewhat for 17 points of slashing damage. Ha ha! A good one, little boy. A good one. Anything else from you, Casper?
That's it.
Okay. In a flurry of action, he will dance around you for no reason other than to have fun, and will swing his sword. That's a 20 to hit you.
That hits.
Okay. You take 10 points of piercing damage as the rapier darts past your blade and just nicks you on the shoulder. You will then focus in for a moment, use an action surge, and come in for a second attack with a 23 to hit.
You're going to tire yourself out, fool! But that hits, yes.
Okay, you take another 7 points of piercing damage. Off to you.
I will show you how it's done. 14 and a 23.
As the first attack comes in, he knocks it to the side with the rapier, but in doing so opened himself up, and you cut into him.
Have at thee!
Good one. My turn. That's a 16 to hit you.
Misses.
Misses. Your turn.
Now I finish it. 21 and a 22.
Okay, with two solid attacks, you knock him back on his... he trying to hold himself, he falls to the ground, his sword flying away from his body.
Do you yield?
You're doing good. Of course, of course. Now pick me up.
I pick him up.
Up. And as good friends, you step over to the resident cleric who heals you up completely. That was more or less the entirety of Casper's youth in just training and having fun. We move over to a different competition now as we see two students sat within a classroom. Sat in front of these two students appears to be a maze of some sort. It's probably about 5 or 6 different chambers and corridors that connect them all. And running around inside one of the chambers, is a little mouse in each of your mazes. And your instructor walks in with big, billowy robes, looking all high and mighty. Now, we test your skills with a practical example. Before you, each of you, you see the test subject, the little mouse, within its habitat. Place a prize at the end of the maze, and you look to the side of the maze and there are little bits of food, and you've got choices of various different cheeses, meat, milks, just all sorts of little sweet things. Place the prize in the opposite corner to the mouse, and here we begin with the test. The two of you must, hands down, I'll answer questions in a moment. The two of you must get the mouse to the end of the maze without touching or affecting the mouse. The maze must stay where it is. No levitating the maze and making it jump and all of that. Use your magics, use whatever is at your disposal to get that mouse over to the destination.
Okay.
Yes. What's your question?
What's the point? What is it supposed to be teaching us?
How to use your spells in different ways, not so straightforward. Think out of the box, and you will learn the extent of your magic.
Okay, so
Yes, Loic.
so we're not allowed to directly what you said, directly influence the mouse
Your
or the maze?
magic cannot touch the mouse and cannot move the maze.
Oh, okay. I pick up a writing quill and I stab a bunch of holes in through the walls of the maze, and it leads a straight path to the end. And I look up at him like,
You pull out a writing quill and you attempt to poke holes in this would-be stone maze.
oh, it's stone,
And
is
your
it?
quill
It's
can't
suddenly stone.
pierce through the maze.
Well, then I don't do that because I know quills can't go through stone.
Yeah, fair enough. So, what do you do?
Can I use message to persuade the mouse, like with imagery that there's food, and direct it with message?
Let's see the extent of the message spell. Abilities there, because I think a language is involved in that spell. So you point your finger toward a creature within range and whisper a message. The target and the target, only the target, can hear the message and reply in a whisper that only you can hear. You can cast this spell through solid objects if you are familiar with the target. It doesn't necessarily say. Okay.
Usually it says creature must be able to understand a language, or if it has an intelligence rating of below -4.
But the spell doesn't. I'm going
Oh,
to say you can try it, and we'll see whether or not it works.
What do you want me to do? Persuasion?
Just a straight Arcana check. Let's see if you can get this spell to work in your favor in that method. Okay. The mouse begins to move and jolt about. He's obviously received some form of message and is aware that there may be food in the maze, but doesn't seem directed somewhat in its location, so it's just aimlessly moving around. What would you like to try, Loic?
I will cast Minor Illusion,
Okay.
and I will do it with the intent of presenting the cheese at a much closer visible location for the mouse. And then once it gets there, I will drop it and then recast it around the next corner.
Okay. Lydial, you notice that the minor illusion of the cheese, though a simple method, seems to be working perfectly.
That was going to be my next thing.
Yeah. So Loic is moving quicker than you.
I'm going to use prestidigitation to create symbols of cheese on the walls, and do the same thing. And so every time it gets a corner, then I'm going to use prestidigitation to put another symbol on another one.
Yeah, you create a non-magical trinket or an illusory image that can fit in your hand and that lasts until the end of your next turn. Okay. So I need straight-up Arcana checks from both of you. Contested Arcana checks. Let's see whose mouse reaches the end quicker.
Arcana again.
Yeah, roll another Arcana check.
This isn't good for me because my magic's based on charming.
Well, it's close. The two mice make their way, almost identical turns. Then at the last moment, Lydial's image seems to suggest it to go a little bit quicker, and the mouse breaks around the corner and gets to the food faster than Loic's. The teacher holds his hands up and clapping. Well done, well done. Good use of various spells. Nice work with the illusion, Loic.
I'd like to stand up and turn to Lydial and say, it was a good match of wits. Well played.
Yes, well played, Loic. But
Now,
I ain't even mad.
you were a little bit faster than me on that one. I was trying something different.
No, there must be something wrong with your eyes. You're always the fastest.
No, I'll give you that one. But don't worry. Next time.
If you got it, flaunt it. Right?
Oh, I flaunt much.
so, class is dismissed at this point. Go about, have fun, do whatever it is you whippersnappers do on your breaks. So, what do you guys like to do in Silvery Moon?
Study.
Yeah, I'll turn to Lydia and be like, library?
Library, yes.
Okay. So you run off to the library, and just as always, you have a wonderful time. Every time you step through the doors, you're always a little amazed, because it always feels like there's somehow an extra bookcase every time you come in that you haven't seen, that you need to see all of the contents of.
Oh, check it out. They changed the mammoth exhibit.
Oh, yes. Well, I need to speak to librarian Estelle because she has a special edition for me I've been waiting months for. Thank you.
Okay.
So you run off to get your special edition book, while Loic... what do you guys do in the library? Follow suit?
Yeah, and we'll probably put down one of those books. She'll show me her latest edition of what does it happen? What does the subject matter happen to be on?
Let's say Chol.
Spoilers.
The Forest of Chols.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Tolt.
While you are in the library, can I get perception checks from both of you? Okay, both of you almost perfectly. Feel the ground shake ever so slightly. A few books fall to the ground as you hear a loud boom come from down one of the library corridors.
We keep it quiet. It's a library.
I'm gonna go climb up on something and try to peek out a window and check it out.
Okay, you go off, you climb up, and you see maybe a little bit of smoke coming out of one of the side rooms.
It's probably one of the first years, Loic. Probably blown up one of the classrooms again.
I don't think a first year could make a smoke plume that big.
What do you mean?
Oh, come look.
Oh. What are you? Oh. What is that?
I don't know. What do you think's going on?
Perception check.
So you have same vantage point. You see a classroom off to the side that has some smoke coming out of it. Obviously, a blast had happened within it. The two of you climb back down and you make your way over to check it out. A couple of students have all done similar sort of thing. There's now a crowd kind of gathering around it. And sure enough, as Lydiel had expected, inside is a sheepish-looking half-elf child. Probably about the same age as Loic, maybe a year or two older. But his hair is completely shocked back, stuck up completely, a little bit charred at the ends. You can even see little bits of electrical sparks connecting them for a moment. And the room is just decimated. Hey, it wasn't me.
As usual, Loic, I was correct.
Hey, Devaro! I like the new look!
Thanks. Oh. Don't mix thunder and lightning.
Take it.
You'd think they would mix, but whoa.
Well, one is the product of the other, I'm afraid, young man.
As you're looking over some of the things that he'd done, he'd obviously been trying to mix two spells together, messing with the spell mechanisms and the components for each one as he tried to cast Lightning Bolt and Thunderwave at once to try and almost increase the damage of a Lightning Bolt and send it further, but it didn't work. It just exploded on him. But while you're in the room, there's another boom. At which point, now that one, pretty sure, 70%, that's not me. Maybe.
Did you share your notes with anyone?
No. This was just fun playtime.
Would you like to share your notes
this
with anyone?
boom was a little bit... Get down. No. This boom was a little bit different, and you all kind of got a... you felt it a little bit more. The entire building, the ground shook for a moment. We move off to Casper. You hear a loud explosion. You hear the big boom, and a rock bounces off the walls around the city and lands into one of the houses next, not far from you, actually, about 150 feet away from you.
We're under attack!
What do you do?
I look for other armed guards and soldiers, see what they're doing, and run in the same direction.
Okay. A couple of the guards have immediately ran towards the house that got hit by the rock, and more break off towards the wall itself. Which group do you follow?
I check to make sure that there aren't any people in danger in the house with those guards.
Okay, so you break off and follow them and running. They give you cursory glances, not too dismissive, but obvious. They're wondering. They're not wondering why you're there. They know you. They expect you, but they don't think you should be there, and you can see that in their eyes. But they run around, and you look inside the house. The big boulder had landed right on the kitchen table. Thankfully, no one had been hurt. All of the family members were actually by the fire in the main hall of their room. The guards quickly usher them out and start gathering them together. But this is... Totally wasn't expecting this. Are you all okay? Are you all okay? And they start making sure that everyone's fine and taking care of everything. One of them looks over the boulder. This is definitely, this isn't just a rock that fell out of the sky. This war. What do you think it could be? And they start chattering amongst themselves, and one of them just briefly mentions, maybe the war has come. Maybe today's the day. And in that there is a slight moment of sadness, that a foreboding, I should say, that comes across you, Casper, where you realize, okay, this is war. This is bad. But also a moment, a small piece of excitement and thrill courses through your veins, as this is finally your chance. You can prove that you are more than just a child playing at war. You are a soldier. You are a hero. And so, what do you do?
I say, sirs, and I nervously salute. It's like, I've trained my whole life for this. Where do you need me?
Roll a persuasion check.
It's 12.
Okay. You want to be useful, boy?
Absolutely.
Go find the Grand Marshal. Go tell him what just happened. Tell him orcs are probably on the way. Probably at the gates right now.
Sir, yes, sir. And I run off.
Okay. Run off as quick as you can. High knees to the chest. Probably just everything is coming into play at this point, and you run as quick as you can. At about this time, as you're running across the city, you pass by the college where Loic and Lydiel had just stepped out of the main chamber looking for the source of that boom. And they see you running quick step across the corridor.
Hey,
Across the
Butterface!
courtyard.
What do you know?
No time. Follow me. Let's go.
Without
Are you supposed to
hesitation,
address the town guards like that, dog?
grab Lydiel's hand and just drag her behind me as I start running off.
Where are we going? I haven't
He said no
finished my
time to
toe.
explain!
But my toe.
Adventure away!
The three of you chase off, well, two and one being dragged across the city towards where the Grand Marshal is kept, and a couple guards are already there. You see him talking to a couple individuals. It's apparent they already know about it, but he's there, a tall individual, white hair, big beard, looking down at a small map of the city with little figurines everywhere, suggesting where the guard posts typically are. What do you do when you arrive?
So I say, sir, my name is Casper. I'm a cadet in training for the Knights in Silver. I have news from the front.
What is it?
A house was destroyed near the library. No one was hurt. There are guards on the scene. Tell me what to do, sir.
Everyone's all right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. don't worry about this. Just stay safe. You need to keep your friends out of the line of danger. Make sure that the guards have plenty of room to do what they need to do. They'll protect the city. You protect yourselves.
Sir, I've trained my whole life for this. I can do it. Just tell me what to do.
I appreciate it. I understand. What you need to do is keep your friends safe. Can you do that, boy?
Sir, yes, sir. I'll keep them safe.
He's a little eager, isn't he?
Before he says he'd keep them safe, and before Lydia goes to talk to the person beside her, I would like to attempt to go into hiding.
The person beside her was you, having been dragged.
In what way are you going to attempt to go into hiding?
So while the Grand Marshal, was talking about how we need to not mind this, as soon as he says that, I'm just like slowly backing up and then around the corner and then duck into a hiding spot and then shuffle off as soon as I can.
Okay, go ahead and roll a stealth check as you attempt to back away. Okay.
Right. Lydia,
what's your passive perception?
And then go, 15.
15, okay.
Loic, where are you going?
Yeah, you notice, and Casper, what's your passive perception
9
as well? 9, okay. So, Lydia, you notice that as you're reaching over to whisper, you see him backing away and slowly trying to move off to the side.
Yeah, she doesn't know. She's completely clueless. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing, Loic? You dragged me all the way here, and now you're leaving me. What?"
You do notice that the guards haven't seen Loic backing away. So Loic is actually somewhat stealthy.
Really? Because I'm making a ton of noise.
Are you trying to stop Loic?
Huh?
Are you trying to stop Loic? Okay.
She doesn't know what she's got. Loic, what are you doing? She's being really loud about it. She
like,
doesn't know why.
Shut up!
Doesn't know what she's saying. She doesn't know why she's.
Grab her by her vestments and be like, "Shut up!"
She's got a book that she's waiting for her in the library that she wants to finish reading, and Loic's dragged her down the street.
I have her by her vestments, and it would be like, "They just said that they're going to exclude us from everything. We gotta go now."
But they should. We're students, Loic.
We can do something.
The wizard.
We're not helpless.
The teachers and professors can't do anything. It's down to the town guards.
Yeah, and while they're occupied, some rock is going to fall on some civilian, and we're going to be there to protect them, and we're not going to be there if we're going to stay here and do nothing. I can't do nothing.
I can't.
Look. You can either follow me, or you can stay here and do nothing. But I'm going.
It gets me in trouble. The professors always tell me to look after you, Loic.
They won't know. They won't have any idea we're gone. We're done with our classes for today. They won't know.
Fine.
You know Casper's going to be right back out there, too.
Does she know Casper?
Up to you.
He's your friend. He seems a bit eager.
I happen to know him, and I happen to know this.
It's a trio of friends, but it's all a case of you're both friends with Loic. That's the way it works. So you know of him. You know of each other. And, there might be a Ron and Hermione situation later on with that regard. So you actually, instead of just slipping around the guards...
I'm sorry, but it's Leviosa.
Because Lydia had made it aware that you were trying to sneak off. You actually back away from the tent somewhat, go around a corner, and then try to come back around one of the buildings to listen in. As the three of you are moving out away from the guards, as far as you can to make sure that you're not being seen, you notice 3 individuals run out from behind a house. It's a woman and 2 children. She's just desperately dragging them across the street. towards where the guards are. You're a good maybe 50, well, about 100 foot away from the guards. They're busy doing what they're doing when these individuals run across the street. You then see the reason why they're running across. There are orcs behind them, chasing after them.
Oh, 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 oh.
Oh God, this is it. 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 This is it.
They're within the walls. Look, they're within the walls.
So I'd like everyone to roll initiative. Ooh, I rolled pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the woman dragging her children, they make it across the well, across the street. But all 4 of the orcs get to go. Okay. So we start with the first one. He will run forward, getting to there. And they will all do a similar sort of thing. So all 4 orcs step forward. They see you. They draw weapons. They speak to you in orc. Do any of you speak orc?
Yeah.
Lydiel, you speak orc? Okay. Effectively, he's referring to you as an appetizer. Tiny little meal to whet his appetite for the bigger course.
Oh, he wants to eat me.
Yes, he does. So, Loic, what do you do?
Does it look like they've given up the chase on the family?
It seems like they've somewhat focused their attention on you.
Okay. I will first hit. Let's see. Nope, I don't have Spell Sniper yet, so I don't have that ability. So everybody gets the appropriate cover that they get. So I need to move, and I will move. Okay, so I'm running across the field here, and as I go, I will shoot a ray of frost at this guy.
Okay. So you dive over the well, shoot the ray of frost as you're moving. A 20 is definitely going to hit. 6 points of cold damage as his flesh just starts to turn white where you hit him.
Stand up and be
Anything
like,
else
that's right. I'm cool.
Lydiel.
Oh, oh. And she's going to run. Mid-spell and then cast Shatter right in the middle of the orcs.
That'll do it. Shatter. They need to make a con save, correct?
DC 14. Yeah, so I don't know these very well. Spells is Shatter is a Constitution saving throw. Yeah.
Okay. And the DC is what? Sorry.
14.
14. Okay. Give me 1 second. There we go. So, con save. One of them fails. The other 3 succeed. The one that fails is the one that's already injured. So, 18 points of damage on all of them, and 9 points on the one that's injured. 9 points is exactly what the orc needed. In one spell, you push it out. Wait, no, it's 18 on one and 9 on the rest.
Yeah.
Sorry, because they succeeded. So the one that failed, his body just crumples to the ground. The rest take a pounding from the shatter spell.
3, 4, 5, 6. And then she's
Anything
going to
else from
run.
you, Lydial?
She's going to finish off running.
Okay.
Can I take a reaction to applause?
Yes, you can.
It was like it did, like that, and then she's kind of run away, and then like reactionary.
Where are you going?
Casper, what do you do?
With everybody else.
What do the orcs look like? Do they are they wielding spears or arrows or clubs or swords?
Each of these orcs in particular, so bare-chested from the waist up, the waist down, it's ragged cloth furs that they're wearing, but each of them are carrying a great axe in both hands, and they're just swinging it wildly as they move, almost just in a playful manner.
And the well, is it like?
It's not high. It's a quick step. It's more like a puddle.
All right. Well, then I will run over there, and I'll say, "Loic, stay behind me!" And then I will take 2 swings at that guy.
Okay.
An 8 and a 24.
So the first one doesn't hit, but the second one comes in. Correcting yourself, you do kill the orc.
Well, then I will take a step forward atop the bodies to ensure that they know I mean business.
Okay. In which case, this orc, understanding that you mean business, is going to step around you, lift its huge great axe, and swing wildly at you. That's 23 to hit.
I will parry.
Okay, so that drops it down by 5. No, the
Oh.
damage is reduced by 5, not the attack.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take 4 points of slashing damage. You've managed to reflect it a little bit, but there's still a bit of flesh that gets cut.
Ah!
And then the other orc, following suit, is going to swing at the other side. That's going to be a 16 to hit you.
Misses.
Misses. Swinging wildly, probably because of the pain. Loic, Casper appears to be surrounded.
I would like to attempt to use minor illusion to drop a fake giant scorpion. Well, not giant, not D&D giant, but to us giants, be like that big. I'd like to drop a scorpion on the guy behind him's shoulder in an attempt to distract him for a round.
Okay. Which one? The one south or
Yeah.
north?
The one between me and Casper.
Okay. Cool. So you cast that. It appears. Hey. On top of him. All right. Lydial.
Oh, that stupid Pulbury boy. Just going to run forward a couple of paces. I take it these people have scarpered past me at this point.
Yeah, they should have actually run
So
past you.
I don't want to shoot past them, so I'm going to stay back a bit. Snip. And then I'm going to fire Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
That's this one.
Okay. You raise your hand. A burst of energy launches from it. Roll to hit. A 16 will hit. 3 points of force damage. It cracks against the flesh, knocks the head of the orc to one side. It's still alive, but blood is now dripping from its black eye.
Okay. So that was my action. I don't think I can do as a. I don't think I have anything I can do as a bonus action. Ooh. Oh no. Okay, I can't hold bonus actions, so no, I'll carry that.
No.
Done. Yeah.
Okay. So, Casper. You have one orc north of you that seems very wounded, an orc south of you that seems completely distracted.
I will try to finish off the one north of me with my first swing.
Okay. That is enough. That'll do it. So you cut straight through and his body falls to the ground.
And then I will turn around and I'll see the scorpion and say, "Ah! Where did that come from?" And I will, before I swing again, I will take a few steps again to ensure that Loic is behind me. I say, "You're too close! You're gonna get hit!" And then I will
I gotta
use
hit him too.
my other swing at the orc with the scorpion on it.
You have advantage because the orc is distracted. So go ahead and roll it again.
11.
Unfortunately, 11... Actually... Oh. 11 is the AC of the scorpion, not the orc. So, unfortunately, you hit the scorpion, but not the orc. The scorpion just fizzles and disappears as the blade cuts clean
Actually,
through. No, it
the
doesn't.
nature
It stays
of
where it is.
illusions is that it doesn't hold up to physical
Yeah.
tests, so it would
No,
go
it
through it.
stays the same. Okay. Anything
But
else?
it would also, if it got hit and cut through, then it would turn translucent where it is, because it would be obviously not a real thing anymore.
It is not a real thing to Casper.
But if the orc saw the blade go through it, then that would also, I feel like.
Yep, and the orc saw it. Okay. So it's translucent at this point. All right. Anything else from you, Casper?
That's it.
Okay. Well, the orc, mad at what's going on, will just swing his axe at Casper. That'll be a 24 to hit.
It hits.
Okay. You take 9 points of slashing damage.
Ah!
Loic, you're up.
Casper, what the hell's, man? You just ruined my illusion. And now I can't shoot because I can't see anything. Get the hells out of the way. I'm gonna step back here and Ray of Frost.
There we go. The blast of cold energy almost picks up the orc off his feet, turning him in the air as his body goes solid white, and then hits the ground with a loud thud and a crack.
Well, that's what one gets for calling me an entree.
Lydia, you were awesome. You were so awesome. I have never seen anything like that before. That was so cool. Do it again.
Well, I'm a little bit spent, Loic. Maybe we should save it, thinking that orcs are in the walls and all that.
You're right. Save it till you have people save.
By now, the woman and the two children that were running away have run straight towards the guards where they were. What are you guys doing?
You bookworms, you need to stay out of this fight. I'll protect you. You just need to be careful. You're not cut out for this type of business.
Excuse
You're the one
me?
that's bleeding.
This bookworm saved your whole life, I think, with my little spell. I think you'd be quite dead without us.
You should listen to Lydia. She's older than both of us.
Combined.
I hate when two of you guys are just ganging up on me. This is stupid.
If you can't take us ganging up on you, how are you going to handle the walls?
And also, Casper, you're always stupid. It doesn't change the situation whatsoever.
I walk away.
I'm sorry. No, we need you. Run after him.
So where do you go in this situation? You know the orcs are within the walls. You believe the guards have some form of plan. What are you
We
doing?
should walk along the walls and make sure that they're not getting in any other way, because that's weird. A whole platoon of them just suddenly appearing in the city.
I said,
We
"What
need
do
to
you
figure
think?
out how to get in.
What do you think I'm going to do?" And I'm walking towards where the orcs came from.
But shouldn't you be telling somebody in charge that they're within the walls?
Nah, we got this.
Okay.
So there are people in charge of this, Loic.
Yes,
Roll a
they're very
survival check, Casper, as you attempt to follow the tracks of the orcs and where they came from.
10.
Okay. You find the orcs trail and you follow it a little bit until it comes to a house that has also been destroyed. But then the trail stops there. Inside this house you can see another large boulder that has just come straight through the ceiling.
Can I take? We should investigate the house. Make sure there aren't any people who need our help.
I'm gonna investigate the boulder.
Okay, go ahead and roll an investigation check on the boulder and a perception check within the house. Man, Loic.
Little Loic.
Little Loic.
Changed a lot.
Yep. All right. So, little Loic, you don't really know. It's a big rock. It's a big rock. And the big rock has a couple bits of rock broken out of it, but it's just a big rock. Perception check from anyone looking at the house.
It's just a big rock, Loic.
See if I can pick it up.
Strength
Okay.
is not one of your assets.
A 3 on that perception.
Yeah, unfortunately, not quite good enough. Aaron, not Aaron, Lydial, you noticed that the boulder, the holes cut into the side of the boulder, almost seem like handholds, as in something could hold on to the boulder.
Oh, dear. Don't say that. Oh, only orcs would be that crazy.
What? What do you see?
Wait there. These handholds, Loic. They're coming in on the boulders.
I'm gonna put my hand up to it and see if it's actually.
Alright, I'm gonna look to see if there's like a smushed orc, because it presumes to be that they kind of cover the whole face of this, and then like one of them's gonna be unlucky where it lands.
There is, in fact, now that you're looking for it, boots of an orc sticking out from underneath the boulder. You didn't notice it at first because it looked like bits of rubble and just trash.
Is it wearing ruby slippers?
No, it's not. It's not. You can take them off of him if you want. Loic, you put your hand against one of these handholds, and sure enough, you can like wrap your fingers around and dig in and hold on to this handhold. So this is probably how that group got into the city. But as you're investigating it, you hear a loud roar as a dragon flies across the sky. Big, huge, white dragon.
Oh my god!
Throwing its cold breath all over the place. It seems to be focusing mostly on the parapets and the very organized attacks against the guard in the city.
God, it's a dragon, Loic.
Okay, now the government's really gonna be busy.
Quiet! Don't get its attention.
It can't hear us from here.
I'm gonna run outside and try to scramble up onto the roof of the house in an attempt to get a better look at it.
So you look up, sure enough,
Oh,
there
when
is
you
a
come down, you're going to get shot.
Dragon! Don't you want to see one?
I've seen plenty in the books. It looks exactly the same.
No, they don't. It's in 3D.
Well, you haven't read the books I've read. They've got
Fair
enough.
little illusions that come out of the books and show you a dragon.
As you are on the roof, the dragon makes another flyby, passing,
I pull.
almost ignoring you.
Get down! Get down!
You hear screams in the distance.
For you smart wizard types, you're the stupidest wizard types I've ever seen.
We should really go find some cover, Loic. I don't want to be out in the open while this dragon's flying around.
All right.
She's making sense. Finally.
All right. Fine. I know when I'm outnumbered.
Always
surrender.
makes sense. Stupid soldiers.
Take me alive, please.
So you all step away from the building and you start, okay, there's a dragon here, we need to kind of regroup, find some shelter, find somewhere safe. You, judging by where you are in terms of the city, there is one spot that you know is usually quite safe to go, and that is the local sanctuary in the town, in the city of Silvery Moon. It's not a place dedicated to a god, but it is the closest thing to what you would consider a religious building in town that isn't specifically dedicated to a god. It's a place of peace and serenity where anyone can go and just be safe. So since you're near that area, you start heading towards it. You get to the location and you can see the building. It's a tall, big brick building, nice big tower at the front, huge ornate wooden with iron bindings on the door, but you can see up against the door is another group of orcs holding a battering ram, just trying to hit into the front door of this. Perception checks all around, please.
Another 3. We need to stop them. We can't let them get in there.
Okay.
How many orcs?
Lydiel, you swear you hear screaming from inside the sanctuary.
Oh, there's people inside.
We knew that, right?
You figured that would be a safe spot, but it's confirmed there are people inside.
Well, they're held up pretty well, but we got to do something about these orcs. How many? We're never going to get in there otherwise. How many are there?
There are 4 orcs, each holding the battering ram. That come in every couple moments. Another.
Okay.
You're the one with the strong magic.
Well. I have an idea. How far away are we?
They're not really focused on you, so you could probably get to about 60 foot away from them.
Okay, I wanna sort of hide 60 feet away, because we don't need to kill. We just need to get rid of the battering ram. So I'm gonna cast Shatter again because I'm under the impression that that will destroy the battering ram. Is that a held thing? I need to read the spell.
Need to double check the shatter spell because I know it does talk about. I believe it talks about any inanimate objects within the range. A non-magical object that isn't being worn or carried also takes the damage if it's in the spell's area.
Oh, does a battering ram? I take it counts as being carried if they're all on it.
I would say an item that is only carried by one individual probably cannot be affected by the spell, but a big thing like that being shared between 4 individuals pretty much counts as its own entity.
Okay.
So you can hit it.
I'm gonna hide behind like some cover, a building, a corner, an alcove, and I'm just going to cast the spell and duck under, so we're hidden again.
Okay. So go ahead and roll the damage for Shatter. DC 14.
Obviously, I don't want to put it close enough to the door. It's only on the battering ram and the individual orcs, not on the door.
So, even if they succeed, they take 11 points of thunder damage. All 4 of the orcs failed, as did the battering ram. So in one fell swoop, you step around, you're focusing, okay, this is the spot. I can do it. I can do it. This is just like in the books. I practiced this spell. You cast it, and the whole place just... The battering ram itself splinters into many small pieces, which all embed themselves in the orcs, which are also blasted away from the central point. The door remains completely intact, but there are no orcs in the doorway anymore.
What did you do?
That's what smart people do, love. We're clear, Loic. I think we can go inside.
Thank you, Lydia. Well done.
I might need a little rest before I do that one again, though.
You probably get it in here.
So you run inside the sanctuary, you get inside, close the doors. Well, you get up to the doors. What do you do? Because those doors are barred and there's screaming people behind it.
I'm going to bang on
like, housekeeping.
Don't be stupid, Loic. Let us in. We just killed the orcs. Let us in.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Do I sound like an orc?
Citizens, fear not. The Knights of Silver are here to rescue you.
Not a knight in silver.
Persuasion check.
Under her breath. The cadets of silver.
Squires of copper.
Sweet 5 on that persuasion.
Can I give him an advantage? Because, like, she has persuasion as a skill, and she's also trying to convince them.
Are you proficient in persuasion?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and Casper roll it one more time.
11.
Okay. The knights abandoned us.
Nonsense!
We didn't.
We'll never abandon you.
You
Well,
see
we're
the
back
door
now, aren't we, darling?
creak open ever so slightly. Get inside, you kids. Get inside.
Kids. We're not kids. I am a Knight of Silver.
I'm a teenager.
And I'm the one who just blew up all those orcs.
Right. Get inside. Get inside.
What do you
And
mean,
they
like,
rush you in. You
Can't you
close.
see the smears on the floor?
I will leave you outside if you don't hurry up.
No, I am inside. I'm just pointing and demonstrating.
Back inside, they close the door, they bar it, they stick a whole bunch of stuff in the way. There's wardrobes, shelves, chairs, everything they could possibly put in there. And you see that this sanctuary is filled with about 30 commoners. Not a single military mind among them. Most of them are huddled in some form of little social circle off towards the center of the room.
I'm gonna stand in the middle of the entryway and just be like, "Who's in charge?"
And then I step in front of Loic. Yeah, who's in charge?
Taking my credit, man.
We're just... No one's in charge. We're just trying to survive. What's going on out there?
Well, I think we should get underground. Are there catacombs here? Or some sort of sub-basement?
Not really.
Oh man, 'cause to dig in the earth, man, would be to upset the earth.
What was it?
To dig into the earth and build inside of the earth would upset the earth. It's not.
Sorry, but no. The only way out is that front gate, and I'm not going to open that again. Certainly. You kids must be hungry. Do you need food? Do you need rest? Look at you. And she runs over to Casper and starts smudging your face.
Ma'am, I am a Knight of Silver. Have some Decency. Unhand me.
Sure you are. Sure you
At
are.
least you
Well,
missed
come
something right there.
Stop it!
They give you a bit of food if you want it, a drink. You're able to take a bit of sanctuary and rest in here, so effectively you can take a short rest over the next hour. You hear the sounds of battle going on all around you.
Do we hear the dragon?
Every now and then you hear another scream of roar from the dragon itself.
We need to get back out there.
Are there windows? Is this like a? I'm trying to imagine a church or something where there are windows, but they're higher up. Is it like a big thing where there's high ceilings and?
There are windows, really tall windows. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get a view out into the streets through those windows because there aren't any walkways higher up in this large room. You do know that there is an observatory above the top of here that you can take a spiral staircase and get out onto the roof if you wish to step outside, but you would be stranded on the roof of this tall building.
Let's go up there and see where we need to go, because we can't stay here. We need to protect the city.
I agree. I feel like a 3-year-old sitting next to these 3-year-olds.
Oh, fine, let's go take a look.
Okay. You rush up the stairs quick as you can, skipping a couple of them to make sure you get up within time. Swinging open the door, after having spent an hour resting, the city is now on fire.
Good God, what have the mages been doing?
The attacks from both the dragon have broken through. You can see sections of the walls that have been broken. A lot of the mages and the knights are still heavily working to keep everything safe, and the majority of them are being effective. You can see that from this high vantage point that off to the east, they are fighting back hordes of orcs and goblins. Off to the west, the mages are keeping everyone safe as they cut through orcs and get people to safety. The dragon is attacking to the north right now.
We should head to the other mages. We need to get these people out of here.
Are all those dark spots orcs, you think?
Well, they're not pixies, Loic.
That's like more orcs than there are ants in the world.
I'm sure that's not true.
So what are we doing?
Look,
Well, they're safe.
These people aren't safe. We should get them to the mages.
Well, they're safe here now. They have.
And if we get overrun here, we have no defenses. We should move them.
To where? Where is safer than here?
The mages are protecting all of the people in the city. That's the best place for everybody and us. So we should go there.
Is that really what it seems like what's going on over there?
It seems like the mages are almost like running through the city, grabbing a bunch of people, keeping them in a protective sphere as they move them indoors and to safety.
Okay, yeah.
And then they'll come out and run around to another group, get them and move them off to another location that's also safe.
Okay, so yeah, we need to go tell them that this place is full of people.
You mean bring the mages here instead of bring the people to the mages?
Yeah, because you don't want the people to come out on the streets without the mages' help. Otherwise, they're going to be, vulnerable to everything that comes at them.
Well, they have our help. We can protect them. This Jasper's very eager to do that. That gives us basically gives him a mission, Loic.
Well, all I know is that guy probably has a shield spell, and I don't. I really legitimately want to save these people's lives. I want to make sure that they survive this. There's no better way to do that than to ensure that somebody with good abjuration magic. I'm not saying yours isn't good. Yours is far beyond me, for sure. But do you think you could protect a whole host of people as they move? Or do you have any thing in your arsenal that's like that?
No, not really. Not on that level. I'm merely offensive magic. I don't really have anything to protect these people. Or myself, in fact. I don't know.
Let's go tell those guys. Just roll. This will be real quick. Just run through the street and tell these guys that we have a whole building full of people over here.
Okay. So you're on top of the building. It's about 100-foot drop down to the floor. Or you could go back out the front door. What are you doing?
I'd be attempting to go back out the front door, but I wouldn't do it without my cohorts with me.
I'm going back out the front door. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go out the front door.
So you head out towards the front. They barricade it behind you. They tell you they won't open it again until you bring more people safety. They will barricade it even more, in fact, to make sure that it's safe. And you rush off towards, as you're running down the street, making your way closer to where you saw the mages were moving around, the dragon flies towards you all and begins to launch a blast your way. I need dexterity saves from all of you as this huge cone of cold just drops above you all. Now, you've got plenty of cover. You've got the houses and whatnot.
Do we get? If it's a dexterity saving throw, we get cover bonuses.
Yep.
So what's the cover bonus? Is it partial cover or is it half cover?
You won't know. Go ahead. I'll tell you.
Oh. She's bad at dex. Oh, Jesus, that was a good roll.
All right. So, Lydiel, you notice this first and you begin to move and instinctively grab the shoulder of Loic, and both of you jump off to the side. Casper jumps off the other side. You both hide underneath the tree, like ledges within a house, underneath the roofs that stick out, as a huge cone of cold just moves through the city, turning the entire ground into ice. Feels cold, but thankfully you all managed to get out of the way without taking any damage. But you know that if you are caught in that, there is no surviving that sort of a blast. After it goes and the dragon flies away, get back out onto the street. This time a little shakier because the street is ice, and you make your way towards where the mages are. And sure enough, after a couple minutes, there they are, blasting their way through an orc here, an orc there, cleverly, maybe almost overusing the fireball spell, as mages are wont to do, blasting orcs out of the way. They see you running. Come on, kids, come on.
There's a bunch of people over there in the sanctuary. We gotta find him. We gotta get him. We gotta get him back to safety.
Calm.
It looks like fun. And
one more time.
Lydiel's gonna just be Eldritch blasting while she's talking. Orcs randomly. Boo, boo.
The sanctuary. It's full of people.
It's true.
People.
I am Casper. I'm a knight of silver. I have just come from the sanctuary. There are 30 or so souls barricaded within.
All right. The one that looks almost in charge, his robes slightly differ from everyone else's, a little bit more filigree to it, a little bit more decoration, turns to the rest. You continue with these lot. You, come with me. We're going to the sanctuary. Show us. Let's go. And they follow you back, running through the city even more, dodging more people, and yes, blasting orcs here and there. Every time Casper runs forward to swing, it's gone. He goes forward to swing again, it's gone. You guys...
Knock it off!
The thrill. This must be what true adventures are like in battle. Just blasting your way through without a care in the world, and everything seems fine. You make it back to the sanctuary, and the mages start building a protective perimeter around you all. Get them to come out. Everyone out in one go. Let's go.
We brought the mages. Come on, hurry up.
Persuasion check, please. With advantage because they were expecting you. Okay. Sure. Yeah. They take their time, a good couple minutes to gather everyone, pull all the barricades away from the door, but they do make it through. You now have a circle of about 6 mages surrounding 30 commoners, with the 3 of you dotted in amongst them and the mages as they make their way through the city. What are you guys doing in this regard? Are you offensive, defensive? What are you doing as making your way through?
Lydia hasn't got any defensive, and she's got a little bit overconfident. She's got a bit of taste of blood now that she just smashed all those orcs, so she's going to carry on with a combination of Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast, and Sacred Flame.
And I am actually
on her cantrips.
I'm going to use Mage Hand to every single time it looks like Casper's about to hit somebody, I'm going to tap them on the opposite shoulder and make them look the other direction, so that he has an easier strike.
I'll be bringing up the rear. I will be the protector.
Okay, cool. So working in teams, working together with these mages that are helping protect the citizens, you go carefully through the city from house to house to avoid the dragon that is swooping down, making attacks. I'd like perception checks from all of you as you're watching this dragon move.
It's an 11.
Okay. Lydial, you figure this out. You see its behavior, and it kind of makes you think, okay, you've read stories about dragons and the abilities that they have. This dragon probably has a breath weapon attack that it can do, but it can't always do it. And that's when you realize that this dragon's mechanic, its strategy, is flawless in its execution. It does this constantly. It'll come in with a breath weapon attack, fly up above the city, high above any sort of defenses, wait for a moment, and then come back with a breath attack, fly up above the city, defensive, far away from any sort of damaging effect, before coming down for a breath weapon attack. It's probably waiting to recharge every time, and will not come down into melee. If that comes into play, that's up to you. Okay?
I'll point this out to Professor, or one of the mages, like there might be one of the teachers or one of the council members. But the dragon, I figured it out. Yeah, I've read about them. It has a breath weapon, but something about the gland. They can't always use it. He has to wait a couple of minutes before he can come back down again. But he keeps coming out of distance. After it's attacked, if we can keep him down, he'll be vulnerable. Or more vulnerable than he usually is.
Well, if you have any ideas of how to keep a dragon down, I'm all ears. Let's go. And he keeps pushing forward. You get the people off towards a more secure location. It's part of the actual college library, and you can see that they've actually protected it with lots of magical spells. There is a barrier that you physically feel as you walk through of protection, and debris as it flies through the air hits this barrier and bounces off. Without the protection and the help of the mages, nothing can pass through this barrier into the college. Thanks. Now you all go inside for safety. We've got to go stop dragon. Okay. So they run off to try and help more people.
Remember, bring him down after he's used it.
You're in the college. back where you were, this idea starting to fester in your mind, Lydiel, of keeping the dragon down after it's made an attack.
I'm sure I've read something in the library. And as a sage that does research, she knows exactly where to find certain books or where to find the research for stuff.
No, yep, absolutely. So you lead everyone off quicker than if you were running to safety. You speed off towards the to the library.
To the library, Loic. The answer's in the library.
What are we doing in here? We have to go back out. That's where the orcs are. That's where the danger is. Why are we going into the library? There aren't any orcs in the library.
Well, if there are, we're going to kill them. But the answers are there. How to kill a dragon.
This isn't a book, you guys. This is real life. Answers aren't going to be in the books. We got to go back out.
No, actually, it might be the books.
Answers are always in the books. Have you ever read anything in your life?
Books are fine, but they're not real. They're just fantasies made up by people with too much time on their hands. We have to go back out now.
Excuse you.
These aren't fictional. These are accounts of great historians and adventurers and other researchers that have studied these things, and they're telling us how to defeat them. We must go up there.
It's pointless.
Crush my dreams, Casper.
It's pointless arguing with you. I will come with you to protect you, but we have to do this quick. Find your stupid answer, and then we got to go back out immediately.
Fine, come on.
You zoom off through the corridors, pushing past doors, pushing children out of the way, younger children, students that you don't care about, because you need your answers. You need to go. You get into the library straight towards the section that you've read before, all about dragons and the history of dragons. And you remember there is a book, History of Silvery Moon. You break it open, and sure enough, there is a chapter about when the city was under siege from a dragon a long time ago. While the guard was doing well at keeping the people safe, they weren't able to do any damage to the dragon because it never got close enough for them to do so. So a couple of ingenious individuals used a series of traps and chains to launch the chains over the dragon and grasp onto it and pull it down to the ground. Effectively, large grapple hooks that were spring-loaded would be launched up to the dragons when it attacked. But the key thing was they needed something to attract the dragon.
Okay.
So you figured in order to do this, if you want to give it a try, you need something to attract the dragon and chains or a trap of sorts to lash onto it when it sweeps down.
Sorry that they had these spring-loaded things that fired, and they're in locations in the city. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is they utilized various different things to effectively quickly make a spring-loaded trap.
Okay.
They had traps that were used by hunters that were spring-loaded, and they used large hooks and chains on those to launch them over the dragon and pull it down.
Okay. So I take it there's diagrams in this book that we can find. So then Lydiel will go, oh, we just need bait. What do white dragons? Then I'm going to try and find a.
How about a 5-foot Elminster?
Time on what white dragons are attracted to.
I can make a 5-foot Elminster.
What's an Elminster?
No, let's find out what white dragons.
What is an Elminster?
Elminster is a person.
Yeah.
Loic, since you have studied Elminster, and Lydiel asks, what is an Elminster?
Well,
Would you care to explain?
Elminster is only the greatest wizard ever.
Okay, so that was Ty asking, not like Lydiel. I imagine Lydiel would probably know.
Fair enough.
She's been there
Yeah.
longer.
He's kind of a big deal. Dragon might
Well,
know
but
him upon recognition.
I'm under the impression that white dragons are very primal, and usually they like big targets to attack and stuff.
So, white dragons, above all else, well, not so much above all else, they love treasure. But more specifically, they just like things that are sparkly.
Oh.
Things that shimmer nice underneath the ice. So, you need something that can sparkle to draw its attention.
Here, it
Nice.
says it here, Loic. White dragons like treasure and sparkly items, things that attract them, like a magpie. All we need to do is put something in the middle of it, and we can set the trap off.
How about this? And I minor illusion a 5 foot by 5 foot diamond.
That looks pretty nice, pretty sparkly.
It's
Thank you,
only
Citizen.
it's only a minor illusion, though, Loic. And dragons have really good sight. Is he going to see through that or not?
It may be the only thing that we have.
Is there anything else in the city we could possibly actually something real that we could attract it with? Do they know anything about in the city? Does Jasper know anything that he might be like eyeing up to protect? Do you know about anything, Jasper? Maybe you've soldiered in the city. You've seen plenty of stuff that needs protecting. Is there anything that's worth a lot and is shiny that we can borrow?
The name is Casper, and you know this.
Yes, Casper, Jasper, whatever.
I don't know. Do I know? Do I know of anything?
Your training, your knowledge is mostly based on metallurgy and battle tactics. The thought does come across your mind that the Spellguard shields are extremely sparkly and very reflective.
We could go to the armory. They may, if there are extra shields laying about, we could pile them up, make a structure. It's big enough to see from a great distance.
Loic's looking at his diamond still in front of him, just very sadly, like, this is best ahead.
Well, we could put it on top, Loic, if it makes you feel better.
No, it wouldn't. It's pity.
Okay. Well, stop sulking. It's not becoming of you.
But this is exactly
You'll
what
never
I'm.
be a great wizard if you keep sulking like that.
This is what I'm talking about. How unrealistic would it be for us to just suddenly have huge chains that could hold a dragon? I mean, only you would find that in a book, a totally unrealistic thing that would not work for anything. That would be.
There's plenty of chains and stuff in the Forge District. We can go down there and get something.
But it'd have to be a chain, at least more than one, to hold the dragon.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty down there. Look, the diagram shows you how to make it. If we can just put this together with some shields, then it will be attracted and land on it. And then the rest of the spellcasters can do their thing. You can do your thing.
But you have your experience. I have my experience, and I've worked with metal before. You can't just make these huge dragon-holding chains like that. It would take time.
Well, okay, let's see what we have to work with when we get there.
Well,
we're...
What do you suggest? How else would you keep this dragon down? Maybe you've got an idea that's not in the book.
We don't fight the dragon. We don't fight the dragon. We fight the
Somebody's
orcs.
got to. If we don't fight the dragon, the whole city's going to be overrun.
What are you saying,
You
Loic?
go look at our resources. I don't know.
Okay, so what are you doing?
We haven't got a better idea. Let's see if we can put this together. If we can't put this together, then we'll have to let the forces, the military, do something. But you didn't want to sit around and wait. I'm giving you a plan.
It's a waste of time. We should fight the orcs.
Loic, give me just a straight intelligence check. It comes back to our days of you trying to find plot holes in people's plans. Which has been a long time since you've had to do that.
Indeed.
All right. Little
Gotta wait
Loic
count.
starting to get a knack for finding plot holes, and Casper's got an absolutely valid point. Like, you need something large. You need chains that are huge. Something long chains with something that's probably heavy / pointed
I think I
on
know
the
where
end.
some of those are used.
You figure an anchor might just do it. It's a big, heavy chain. It's long, and the actual anchor itself could be considered a grapple hook of sorts. It could work.
I think I know where to find some big chains. The river.
Great idea, Loic.
What do we go get the Spellguard shield first, or is anywhere? Because the chain's gonna be very heavy, and we won't want to drag him around.
I imagine the shields are going to be very heavy as well.
It'll be less heavy.
Maybe we can get a cart and put them on there. Jasper is a great strong lad.
Stop it. You know you're doing it on purpose. Loic, tell her to stop.
I don't tell her nothing.
Look, can you pick up an anchor?
I don't know. I'm very strong.
What's your strength score?
18.
18. Probably not. 15 times 18? What's 15 times 18?
240. No, 200.
270.
Yeah.
Yeah. The anchors are typically more than 270 pounds. So, unfortunately, you're pretty sure you won't be able to pick up an anchor.
Of course I can pick
by
up an
yourself,
anchor.
at least.
Well, there you go. If we get a cart, we can put it on that and take it across town.
Okay, so where to first? The river.
Well, it's one or the other. We either get the shields and bring them to the anchors, or we get the anchors and bring them to the shields.
You know, I think my diamond thingy would work if we gave it a shot. It would be shiny enough, and he'd have to get close enough in order to see if it's an illusion to begin with, even if it doesn't fool him. I think it'll work.
Is there somewhere in the docks that we can use? Is there a location? We have to have a location or a space, and then we need to get the mages involved and get them down there. So once we capture it, they can attack it.
And what are we shooting the anchor chains with?
It's in the diagram.
Right.
There was a description of
put the book on the
using-
anchor.
No. The book described a use of effectively a glyph of warding to explode a plate away from the ground and cause the plate to lift up and launch the anchor itself, and use magic to launch it rather than physicality.
Okay, so what we need to get some of the mages to create these wards and put the anchors down, and then get the dragon attracted down here, and then when it's landed, they set off the glyphs and they explode around the dragon, and then we caught it.
Where do we begin to find mages that are unoccupied at the moment?
Well, they're occupied with trying to take the dragon down. That's what they said.
Okay,
But now we've got a plan, so we just take the plan to them and we can assist.
Don't worry, I'll convince them. I'll speak on the authority of the Knights of Silver.
And he starts to walk away, and you follow him.
Alright, so Lydia's going to grab the book, and then she's going to walk to the sign-out desk and sign the book out.
You have to traipse through a bunch of stuff that's been fallen on the ground and knocked over, but you do find the sign-in book, and okay, all right, you have the book, and you head out back into the city proper. There are plenty of mages here and there dotted around the city, running from spot to spot. You
Pardon
going
me.
to them first, or are you going to something else?
Pardon me, mage. You there.
Boy, yeah, what's up?
I am Casper. I am of the Knights of Silver.
Okay.
I need to commandeer your abilities. I need you, and you. I need multiple mages. Your other mage students, they have a plan. It's in that book over there. We're going to capture the dragon, and then you'll kill it.
Roll a persuasion check.
I'm going to nod furiously with great big like doty eyes, going, "Yes, we have a plan." To give him an advantage, if that's possible.
No. You guys are teenagers. There's no way he has
Right.
advantage on this.
Do we recognise any of these mages? Or any ones that we've seen or know?
You may know them. Older kids in the school, people that have graduated, work in the protection of the city, work in the enchantment businesses in town. What's your plan, boy? What crazy ideas have you kids come up with?
I'm going to push out the way and go.
And I'm going to push her out of the way. No,
It's in the book. Look! I found a way to trap a dragon. They used to use it when we were under siege before. Look. And I'll show the diagram.
I helped.
We can go
You know
down to the
this is
docks.
crazy, right?
It's better than letting it attack us from the skies and not having anywhere to counter it. All we need to do is use some anchors down at the port.
He turns to one of the other mages. Could it work? I mean, yeah, it kind of could, but you know. Oh, I mean,
They've used it. They've used it before. This isn't my idea. This is experienced mages using it in the past.
Roll a persuasion check yourself.
Hmm.
17. All right. All right. Where to first, kids?
Lean over to Casper and be like, people listen to her because she has boobs.
I hadn't noticed.
To the shipyard.
Did she hear that?
Your passive perception's better than anyone else's, so probably.
She's gonna be a little bit offended, and she's gonna. Really?
To the shipyard. They rush off. You all make your way. Sure enough, it comes through. I need deck saves from everyone again. As you try to launch out of the way of another dragon passing through.
19.
Natural one.
Gonna drag this out, you know.
He already knows
Natural
exactly how
one.
much damage.
Has consequences.
No, it doesn't.
Loic.
Would I have seen the dragon coming?
You
I have
rolled a
time?
natural one.
Okay.
It was an adult dragon, right?
Yeah. Well, you have your choice between what was actually an ancient and a adolescent.
So that I don't completely guarantee a one-shot kill, I'm going to it was an adult.
Woo!
No.
So 60 points of cold damage. One go, just insta-kill.
Yep. I'm a level 3, man. I'm not surviving that.
I know. Loic, you jump just super quick. You heard the sound and you were quick as you could. You got in through the you managed to make your way through the through a window into a house for protection. Casper jumped in another direction. You look up to see Casper also look up at the same time through a window to see the aftermath as Lydiel is frozen still in one motion, just solid.
As soon as the dragon passes, I run out of hiding and I put my hands to her face and I'm like trying to warm her up. I'm like, no, Lydiel!
You start trying to warm her and the flesh is actually starting to melt.
No! Ray of Frost, no!
The mages, a little bit sad over what happened. Let's see if a mage has Revivify on them.
No, they don't.
Don't think mages do. They don't normally.
Only clerics and paladin.
Yeah. Sorry to say it, Lydiel. It was a nat 1.
No, that's fine.
The dragon takes you out. You freeze instantly. Everything goes dark. Perfectly painless. Way to go. As you succumb to the darkness.
It's okay. We can put her on a cart and we can take her to the Temple of Mystra and then they'll be able to resurrect her, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's. This is the adult mages. Okay. Let's keep her with us. We'll try to make sure she stays intact. Oh wow. Yeah. We'll do it. We'll keep her safe. The clerics can do something.
Lydiel, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna fix you. I promise.
Face frozen. Like that. You have to say like that for the rest of the session, Lydiel.
I'm just gonna pause my pause the camera.
Should we continue with this plan?
We have to. Otherwise, more people are gonna end up like this, right?
That's what she wanted.
Think so. All right. Carrying the ice sculpture remains of Lydiel carefully as you go. You all run down towards the docks. You pry the book out of the frozen hands. No, because the mage had taken it already, so it's not frozen. Mage already had it. It's like, all right, we need... you said anchors would work? You, go. The mages kick straight into work. Mage hand lifting anchors out of the water off to the side. All right, what's the next step? What do we need?
Okay, and then you gotta put those there, and then you make some spring attachments that are attached to the wards. You're gonna...
Okay, this is just going to launch the anchor itself. How are we going to keep the chains down? The book only mentions people holding the chains.
Oh no.
I volunteer to hold one of the chains.
If you think we should all hold it, I guess that's the best idea we can come up with.
Well, someone's got to hit the dragon while we hold it. Who's going to do that?
Oh.
We need more people. Or somebody with a hammer that can drive some stakes down on the other side or something.
We'll get a few more people. We'll try to... Maybe we can use magic to keep them down. We can get them stuck to the ground. So they do. A couple mages stay and start working on getting some of these chains to stick into the ground while others rush off to get more help. You start working on arranging the anchors in positions over glyphs of warding that are starting to be set. It takes the better part of about an hour to construct this crude idea of a trap, but you manage to do it without any additional flybys. After the hour, it all looks set up. We need the bait.
Okay. I got it. Everybody stand back.
Okay.
So
So you're doing your...
I'll get as far as I get, which is 30 feet away.
Okay.
And I will cast Minor Illusion and create that big shiny diamond right in the middle of the trap.
Okay. The diamond appears, starts to sparkle, light reflecting off of it in the noonday sun. This is bright in the middle of the day. You see the shadow of the dragon swing by. It's obviously picked up the sight. Apparently fooled by this magic, it starts flying in. It launches a breath attack one more time to clear away the ground, but you all took covers, you prepared yourselves, you're perfectly fine. It all seems quiet. The dragon touches down in front of you all, and then reaches out to grab the illusionary diamond.
Now!
The glyphs all get triggered at once. The anchors get blown up into the sky. It just manages to cross as it lands on top of the dragon, pinning its wings down. You're all holding on as much as you can, and it's thrashing about. Its breath weapon is spent, so it's just lashing with its teeth. A couple mages by accident get caught in the crossfire, and it bites onto them, rips them apart, and throws them away with loud... The dragon starts to break free, its wings and its strength flapping. A couple of the chains all break off. The mages are trying their best to weaken this dragon and blow it to pieces with all their spells and magic, but the magic's just not quite getting through the flesh. Then you hear a second roar as a louder beast flies in, but this time the shadow that is cast almost takes on a different hue as light is being reflected off the body of this, did we say copper dragon?
Copper.
Yeah, copper dragon, as it flies in and just rakes its claws along the back of this adult white.
Yes!
This copper dragon that just came out of nowhere launches attack after attack against the dragon, and all of the anchors fall off and the chains have been loosed. The dragons are now free and they fly up into the sky. The copper dragon obviously pulling the dragon away from the people as it starts attacking. It uses its breath to spit acid and slow the dragon down. You can see the adult white is starting to slow, its wings curling up as the dragon just starts ripping it apart. The body of the dragon, the white, falls with a loud... The dust settles. There's little sprinkles of snow and ash combined in the air after the explosion. A loud roar sounds from this copper dragon flying high overhead, which begins doing the same mechanic that the other dragon had done: fly in, launch attack, fly off, but this time aimed at all of the orcs. The armies, the watch begin to break and break through, protecting the citizens better. They keep it defended. The orc army breaks, starts running away. The better part of an hour, you all join in forces for Lydia and all of that. You tear through as many straggling orcs as you can, and the battle is won. But Lydial is frozen. as it calms down, as the mages thank you, but continue rushing off to aid more people. They reassure you, your time, thank you for helping, but you don't need to do any more. You've sacrificed enough. You take care of yourselves. And they rush off to help more of the city. What do?
Well, I'm
with the
gonna
frozen body.
wheel her on over to the Temple of Mistra.
Carefully wheeling down the street, past quite a few injured individuals that are obviously receiving healing magic, towards the chief cleric within the temple, who is furiously working at healing and saving people. Sweat dripping from his forehead. He looks exhausted. More? When is it going to end?
Oh, come on, come on. She's worse off than most of the people here. I'm just keeping her in one piece right now with Razor Frost.
He will attempt to cast Resurrect. Not true Resurrect, because he's not that powerful. But just Resurrection. So, it'll take him an hour. But it's expensive. And he says, is there any way you have any way to help this spell?
I'm just curious, like being that I'm frozen, would the effects, like, Revivify is like for a person that's dead after a minute, but because I'm frozen and preserved, would that extend?
You're not preserved, you're dead.
You know, I'm a preserved dead.
Your soul is in the afterlife. It's not on its way, it is in there. It's spent some time.
Loic, aren't your parents loaded?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is that if we need money, I might be able to provide that. As far as magic goes, I'm just a first-year student. I don't know very much.
Okay. He sorts through his pouches, manages to get the things that he needs, but he makes you swear to repay the debt.
I will. I promise. Pinky promise.
He reaches out for Lydiel, for her flesh. The cold air just sizzling at his touch. Radiant light just pushes out of his hands as the body begins to melt but remain solid. The ice subsiding away, and as the last moments of ice start to melt and water just all over the floor, Lydiel's eyes wide open. You have come back from the dead, Lydiel, so you have a -4 penalty to all attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Okay?
Right.
But you're awake, and you're back to...
4 hit points.
all mortal wounds and restores any missing body parts, so you are at maximum hit points at this point.
Okay, but I got -4 every check. Okay,
Every
do I remember where I've been?
Let's do a history check, as I usually do.
No.
No, you don't remember. It was one moment the dragon attacked, the next moment you're lying down in the chapel.
What happened?
Loic immediately collapses on you, hugging your waist, and is like, "Oh, Lydiel, you got
Okay,
busted
Loic.
by a dragon."
Did I? Really?
Yeah, you were dead.
I was dead?
You were dead.
I don't remember anything.
You were definitely dead.
Oh,
But you're not dead anymore.
how sad. I really wanted to know where I was going to go, Loic. And I can't remember a thing.
Well, no doubt you will return there again. Eventually. Hopefully no time soon.
Yes, but I thought the first time I died, I at least know learned something of it. Oh,
Dude,
oh.
Lydia, we did the trap and it worked and it caught the dragon and then
You killed it?
No. The dragon was about to get free. And then another dragon came out of nowhere, a copper one, and just ripped it to pieces. It was awesome.
Fantastic. We did good then.
And frost everywhere.
We did good then. The plan works at least. Oh well. Well, if I had died, at least now I know that what we did worked and it helped people. It's fine. So, is the battle still going on?
Nope. They've been able to secure the wall. And as far as we know, there are no more surviving orcs in the city. The dragon is still around. So he or she or it is deterring enemy forces for the time being. Word is they're still camped out there.
Where's the book, Loic?
It's with the mages.
What do you mean it's with the mages?
Well, they kept it.
I signed that book out.
Right.
It's going to be under my name.
Well, what are you gonna do? Sometimes things happen.
Who has? Oh, I'm gonna have to find that book.
I don't remember his name.
Just as you guys are worried about all of this, a shrill voice screams off to the side of the chapel. I'm gonna mispronounce your last name, and I'm very sorry. How do I pronounce the last name again?
Warlwid.
Gwarlwid. Okay. So you hear loud, Loic Gwarlwid. What on earth are you doing in here? Where have you been? We've been searching for you all day. It's your mother who's been screaming and shouting. She runs right over to you, grabs you up out of the door. Go and roll a stealth check with disadvantage. Because her steely eyes are stuck on you.
I nudge Liddale, say, she's hot.
Loic's mother?
Totally, yeah.
You're trying to step away and hide, but your mother knows you too well, and she circles you to make sure there is no way you can get away, and grabs you and stuff on the... Where have you been all day? We've been searching everywhere for you. Your sister's Colin has been looking for you. Like, what is going on?
We saved people!
You've been running around pretending to be a hero again, haven't you?
We weren't pretending. We saved people. We went to the sanctuary and there were people in there and the mages didn't know it, and we saved them. And then we helped with the dragon. Mom, we helped with the dragon. It was awesome.
And then he saved me. I was dead and he brought me here. I got iced by the dragon and he was so brave. He brought me here. He brought me here and saved my life. He's been very brave. And we all needed to do our part today.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear. It's been a crazy day. It's been very traumatic for a lot of people. I'm sure you're fine. I was close to believing that Loic was helping out, but there's no way you died and came back to life. Loic, that's it. That's just ridiculous. And the cleric is already gone. He's helping other people. He's busy.
I was
Loic, we need
iced
to
by
go.
a dragon.
And she starts pulling Loic away from the chapel. Say goodbye to your friends. We're in a hurry.
But we did help though, Mom.
I'm sure you did.
Yes,
Sure you did, sweetheart.
we tracked the dragon.
Bye, guys.
Loic, you follow your mother out of the chapel back towards your home.
So
Your home, seemingly...
Why exactly is she hot and I'm not?
I'm not getting involved in that one.
Did you see her?
Yes.
Well, then it should be obvious.
What? All the armor?
Well, you're a delicate half elf. You wouldn't be able to. I mean, she's got
Delicate. I've blown up orcs today and been frozen by a dragon. How delicate do you think I am? I don't believe you, Jasper. I'm going back to the library. I need to sort this missing book out.
Loic, you follow your mother back home. Your house looks untouched. Completely untouched. Your family are all there inside the house. They've been sitting there for a couple of minutes waiting for you. But also you see this professor from the college. You know of Colin. You've seen him teaching. He teaches one or two of your classes. But you've never had a full-on conversation with him. But they're all sat there. Xanderel, is there, sat with you, with the family. We need to talk, Loic.
Okay.
You can't just run around like this. We could have lost you. You could have died. And what would that have done to your mother if you'd fallen?
Saved lives.
I know you mean well when you run off to help people, but you need to learn. You need a teacher that'll help you to be strong enough to be able to keep up with your appetite for adventure. And that's where Colin stands up. Colin being this small gnome individual, hair, beard as long as his body is, stepping forward. That's where I come in.
You're not going to turn me into anything, are you? As penalty?
Nope. Well, yes. I'm going to turn you into the greatest thing ever. Loic.
A dragon?
No. A powerful mage. Ooh.
That could be just as cool.
Alright.
But wait, wait. No, you continue. Sorry, sir.
My apprentice fell in the battle, frozen and destroyed by the dragon itself, which word has reached my ears that you were involved in the trapping of the dragon.
I know.
You know what kind of magic I specialize in?
Divination.
Divination. It has become apparent that your safety at this time is paramount to a number of situations. I will teach you, I will train you with what you need to learn. Your mortality will aid many people in the time to come.
I think I understand.
And with that, we fade away from the city into a montage of training sequences and lessons, and Loic growing ever so taller and a little stronger, looking better, like pretty good looking now. Lydiel has also gotten older and kind of separated your ways. Lydial went off to follow a path with her family. Caspar joined the guard and fought valiantly in aiding protect the city and other cities nearby as they rebuilt after the aftermath of this battle. Until 10 years later, approximately. Timelines are a bit skewy with our normal campaign. Colin calls you over. No more training in the classroom for today. We're going to do a practical. We're going to venture. There's a place we need to go, and it's in the Underdark.
What? No.
Yes.
No.
Oh,
No.
yes.
Oh, no.
Come on.
What could possibly be down there that we would want anything to do with?
Answers, Loic. Answers. And that's what we need. We always need the answers. We need to know.
Fight them, man. It's the Underdark. We are not. I am not welcome.
You are my apprentice. We're going to the Underdark. And there began Loic's adventure into the Underdark, which started our entire campaign a little over a year ago. We will wrap up today's session there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this short visage into the life of Loic and how he began his training with Colin, his master, and began the life of adventure and a continual attempt to stave off his death. Join us next week as we will resume the main storyline with Brassic attacking the party. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.